the Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. Mate, I'm back from Japan.
Oh, damn, finally.
Damn, son. I didn't even wear my Japan snapback.
Yeah, Japan snapback.
I got a Japan snapback.
Oh, nice.
Just for the times when, the hair doesn't feel like working. How you been?
Yeah,
What's been happening?
Oh, I mean, just chilling.
Heard you went to see Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to talk about that one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll talk about that this episode as well. Very good movie. But yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah. R-rated, I heard. R-rated. Anyway, let's get to the admin bit, guys. Please like, subscribe, share the podcast. I think we're going to get into some really exciting topics.
Yeah.
We're in May, man. What is happening? I felt like it was just January a couple of months ago.
I mean, we said it every year, yes, but like the year is going very fast. It's
for sure.
And I mean, yeah, I just can't believe we're in May. Like it's already starting to get cold now. So
yeah.
By the way, if anyone's from the northern hemisphere, we're in Australia. So
Australia, mate.
It's getting cold now.
Okay. Let's get into it. The first topic. Look, we're just gonna have a permanent AI section, right? Like, let's.
Well, okay. I did tell you at the start of that this is gonna change rapidly. AI. It's gonna get into some crazy.
I think we could do like 2 podcasts a week. I mean, just
on AI.
AI watch. That's how aggressive it is. But okay, look. So the latest and greatest, the Godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, has left. He's left work basically.
Yep. He's left OpenAI, I believe.
Yeah. Hinton is known as the Godfather of Artificial Intelligence, a moniker he embraces. He and his colleagues helped develop artificial neural networks, and effectively he's left citing that he is worried about the end of people. See, we had this conversation, but if the supposed Godfather, this is where he's at, how worried should we be?
Well, I don't know if you watched Terminator 2, by the way, but
peer reviewed Terminator.
He's basically the Miles Dyson of AI. the African American guy that presses the button and is breathing heavily, like that guy. He's basically that, and now he's left. So wait, did he work for OpenAI?
He worked for Google. Initially, he's done a couple of different stints everywhere. But I mean, I think the main thing is he's decided to leave the field of AI, citing that his conscience can't basically take where it's going, and he cites grave concern. But I mean, this is not new, right? We had this chat. Who regulates it? And I think, I've been obsessed with AI ever since we started talking about it. Every podcast I can listen to, because I'm in the business space and the venture capitalist space. That's the angle that I'm really interested in. But I think people are now opening their eyes and understanding and noting that as much as good as this can be, there's a very scary downside in it. And obviously the job stuff gets the shine, and rightly so. But things that you can't control and the rate of growth here, and it just doesn't help when people that have been really close to the project and the Godfather of AI is doing these concerns, because we're not in the labs. I say labs, but we're not behind the scenes where this is happening. So we're not privy to what people are seeing, right?
Well, okay, let's just go down the rabbit hole on this one.
Yeah.
Because what is currently, right? What is the current version of AI? What is it doing? At the moment, I believe it's just helping with remedial tasks, things that we do every day to day, right? That's remedial, it's time consuming. It's making that easier, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like, read this document, give me a summary. If you're a student, write me an essay. I want to cheat on my exam. Yep.
Which I'm not going to name names, but apparently a mate of mine has used it.
Well, I know a PhD teacher and at uni, and they were saying turn it in. The system.
Yes.
That's now integrated with AI, but now there's another AI where you can get ChatGPT answers and put them into something else which paraphrases it. So it's gonna get even harder. But
so you have a program that can try and sense AI, and then you've got a program that's probably AI that's trying to get away with it. Yeah, lovely. I mean, it's creating different revenue streams.
But these, at the end of the day, these are remedial tasks.
These are remedial tasks.
what the founder's probably seeing is something beyond this.
Yeah.
Like he's probably seeing something scary that just, I'm guessing, scared him off to the point where he doesn't want to work on this anymore.
Which is a lot. Look, I think the thing is,
what to you is going to be a scary bit of it?
okay, hear this out. So I saw a video. Let's see.
Because like right now we're sort of being wowed by it.
We're being wowed by it. We're in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
But again, this is what we are privy to, right?
Yeah.
So Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google,
Brown boy, what's up?
he had what's up?
Shout out my brown boys.
He had an interview with 60 Minutes. I hate 60 Minutes. They sensationalize.
Yeah.
Anyway, the short of it is, they had a version of AI which they were asking like remedial questions. I can't remember the example, right? They were asking it in a particular language, and it all of a sudden, because they create parameters around the AI.
Yeah.
Just say, in this example, language being one, right?
Yeah.
So it was in English. It answered the question in Bengali.
Bengali, yes.
You've heard about this one. So without telling it, right?
Yeah.
So, and like this is not a problem, but what it is if they've created parameters which it's already breaking,
Yeah.
like how do you keep control of something that is more efficient than human beings? And there's already examples of AI displaying sentient behavior, right?
Yes.
So what happens when it, decides is one thing, but puts into actions elements that is against what it's being used, right? So I think these are elements that he's probably been privy to.
I reckon that's what he's seen.
Yeah.
I reckon he's seen AI become sentient, fully sentient.
And when the 60
Not
minutes...
just some answers on a chat sort of box. I reckon he's seen something where it's gone fully
Or maybe
sentient.
outright disobeyed like an order or something like that.
Outright. I've heard of reports of China doing something with AI and it going wrong.
Yeah.
Which was sort of hidden amongst the news cycle. But yeah, I mean, it could be something like where he's seen AI become sentient and do something completely wrong.
Yeah.
And that's probably what scared him off.
And that's why governments, you've seen Elon, you've seen Apple and all these tech founders, there is a growing chorus of individuals that really want some level of regulation. But the irony is they don't trust the government to have the speed and just basically the know-how to do it. And we're stuck. Ironically, we're not stuck because the rate of innovation is growing, and it's growing without any level of legislation and checking, which is scary in itself. Because what is Russia doing with AI stuff? What is China doing? What are all these countries doing? Countries with a history, much less like America in itself that has like a level of history as well, right?
I mean, the American sort of military complex is... There's a lot spent on that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, mate, they've probably got something with AI. They probably have robot soldiers by now, I'm guessing. I mean, we're looking at things from an external point of view and seeing these robots that can do this crazy front flips and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then we're seeing AI, chatbots. Hey, if you just merge the two, you have a robot army like in Terminator.
See, the irony of like movies and stuff like that is they're born out of like human constructs of imagination.
Yeah.
Which these are the same individuals that are creating the real frontline things. So I know we keep laughing about we've seen this movie. It's because the same individuals that are creating the movies may not be creating the actual things, but they're within the same line of creativity in that band. And it's a very real reality that aspects like this happen. Like what happens if, God forbid they've already got drones are effectively robots, right? If you put an AI thing and then it turns around and decides I want to be for this country instead of
what happens then?
So what happens then? And it knows everything. Knows where the keys are, knows where the subs are. You know what I mean? So I think
it knows where the nuclear codes are.
It knows it is the nuclear code, but that's scary. That is really scary in itself. And I think what's scary is we've never before. It's hard. In this interview, Sundar described elements of AI or like what programmers call black box elements, which they don't understand. And the reporter was saying, yep, that's fair, but given like the downside is can be so catastrophic, why are we releasing it out? And his answer has been the answer that I can't remember the CEO of
Sam
Altman of OpenAI has said, which is yes, but this same technology could cure, AIDS. It could do
cancer,
so many
so
things.
many things. Yeah.
So it's just scary because it feels like the next evolution. Hey, what AI could do is improve the likelihood of, change our average median age of 70 to 150.
Probably
Could get us to Mars. It could do so many things. So I can understand that. It's just that who gets to make those decisions when it feels like the whole, you get what I'm saying, right? Like it just seems like
just think about this, how quickly this has moved, right? Late last year, AI was making funny little arts and now we're in May, and then we're talking about things like it being taking over jobs, the military, all this sort of stuff, like curing cancer. Like this, it has moved so quick in these past 5 months, and I still am thinking that this is the embryonic stage of AI. We're nowhere near what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's fear, there's excitement, there's a lot of stuff, but I mean, where it goes from here, even till our next episode, we don't even know.
We don't know. So we at this stage, we're
changing so quickly.
Sponsored by AI.
Yeah.
If you're a white collar worker, I've heard this in a couple of different podcasts, and it rings true. In the information age, where your value is transferring information and creating value in the value chain, whatever it is, be it journalism, be it business, etc., you need to be learning how to use AI. So I'm forcing myself by putting it as like a desktop thing, because
100%.
even within the prompts, the natural language element is the game changer.
Yeah.
But there are ways of extracting better information than simply asking it like their summary prompts there. So we need to be across it, because I think the information age means that those individuals that are able to use it, and there's degrees of being able to use things, right? Everyone can, not everyone, but like there's a reason why some video editors are better than others, because they can extract the tools better, and it's going to be the same with this. Everyone at a certain level with a certain level of internet access will have access to the same ChatGPT.
Well, I'll just give you another example. This is giving some free sponsorship for for a product, but Autopod AI.
What's that?
So that's basically a program where, editing this podcast, it takes man hours. You have to go through it.
I'm already looking for how to do that.
It does it.
Yeah.
So
is it free?
It's not free. It's with you have to have Adobe Premiere. And it's a plugin for that.
Yeah.
But I think you literally pay it like $20 a month, and in 40 seconds it creates a multi-cut.
Mate, the productivity gain you could do with that is what's $20 a month?
Yeah.
You pay that to an editor. Macca's, mate.
It's the same thing you pay an editor, right?
Exactly.
Really.
And that's the scary bit, right?
Well, you pay an editor more. So like literally, $20 a month, it edits it for you in 45 seconds. Jesus. A 1 hour podcast. Multi-cuts, everything.
How does it decide like when to pan and all that?
That's the thing. It knows based on who's talking, what view, when they cut, all that sort of stuff. It even cuts out the ums and ahs and dead silence.
Really?
It takes all of that out, and like it's.
I think I've seen like a video clip of that.
Yeah, and I mean, man, like that's just like the first one of these. Imagine, there's other ones where it does that, and it also creates like the social clips for you.
Okay, that one we definitely need to talk offline.
With the captions, with everything, it does it all, and I'm just like left.
It's like, where am I going to get employed? My jobs are going to get taken.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like at the moment, I think it's helping a lot of these editors.
Yeah.
Right, because they'll just use that and say like, they can do a lot more work with it, right?
Yeah.
But once, like, I guess the people who are sort of contacting these editors, using these editors, like the customers, once they sort of get wind of how easy it is,
like why would you need them?
Why would you need them? You just do it yourself, right? The thing is, I don't know whether the public would want to do it themselves or look into doing it themselves, really.
Well, think about us. It's you, me, and that's it, right? What is the most arduous process apart from editing, which is arduous, a 1 hour podcast? The socials, right? It's a headache. It's a genuine headache. If you say $20 a month,
someone does it for us
to pump it out. Yeah, do it. But like we know a little bit of it. I think if you completely brand new, you still want that human facing
Yeah, you
element,
do.
which is
Yeah.
why there's certain things such as buying a home loan, as an example. Even though there's digitized process, people still want to see a broker.
Yeah, they still want to see
They
it.
still want to see it.
Yeah.
So there'll always be that element, but and that's why I say that few, I don't know, 20.
Then what happens, like right now, AI can also mimic a voice conversation with, like if you're a customer service.
Yeah.
Sundar Pichai showed us that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, what's to stop AI from getting put into a robot and that looks
Well,
human?
that's what I mean. Like,
and
that,
then it feels like you're talking to
that's
someone.
where the imagination is, like, it just doesn't stop where there's the other thing that I'm really concerned is, like, I mean, let's talk about an AI being sentient and stuff like that and like going against the master.
Yeah.
But misinformation, man, if they can create realistic videos and stuff like that that's in human,
imagine
no end to it.
Like AI is becoming sentient and influencing political campaigns,
Exactly.
elections,
And
all this sort of stuff.
Imagine actual politicians actively using it to do so,
Yeah.
and knowing it.
Yeah.
We've done less with worse, worse with less. Sorry, you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
People are deploying. People will deploy. If there's any advantage, this is almost like performance enhancing. It's performance enhancing in a different way.
That's actually a very good analogy.
Yeah.
It's actually it's very much that.
Yeah.
It's like when.
So why wouldn't you use it if you had access to it and you understood what it could do?
Yeah, and that's why, like, when like steroids and all the performance enhancing drugs came,
Performance enhancing.
when it became more like prominent use during the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was all this legislation that came in for all these sporting codes
Yeah.
that you had to follow. ASADA and WADA and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just wondering, like, there has to be something like that for.
Okay.
That's what Elon's calling for.
Okay, so
right?
you know what? All right, let's play it. You and I are the legislators.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the parameters. One is every country has scientists that are doing this, so in their own countries.
Yeah.
So is this supposed to be like a UN or like something like because we know that
probably
that
does.
doesn't, but it doesn't work. Like, why would why would any country, I keep going back to this, but why would any country lock themselves to it? And how would you know if they're telling the truth? That's number one.
Well, he's how the world works, mate.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Right.
No, so what I reckon usually happens with the world is any sort of thing that would do, there has to be some sort of incident.
Yeah.
Then they react to it. Politics,
I agree,
governments, all very reactionary.
I agree, but like
organizations. And
but all the tolerance.
I reckon something's going to happen with the AI that's going to be like, nope, that can't happen again.
Yeah.
And that's going to facilitate this sort of response. I mean, what is the 9/11 of AI? Is that coming soon?
We don't want to experience that. Like, why?
But that's the thing, right? Like, maybe you do, because the 9/11, right? It really strengthened the airport security across the world.
Yep.
You can't go on a plane right now without getting scanned like 50 times. Like, that's just how it is now.
Brother got felt up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's transition over to our favorite aspect of AI, the music industry. What is happening with this?
Ooh, Drizzy Drake, man.
Drake.
So he had that song, I think, what was it called? Search and Rescue. The one with The Weeknd, whatever.
That's a single, right? That's not an album or anything.
Yeah, it was created by some guy, just created it like with AI.
Really?
Yeah.
But didn't it go on Spotify?
Yeah, it was on Spotify, it was on YouTube, it was on everything.
Wait, that wasn't by Drake?
No, it wasn't, no. So that was an AI song.
It was trash, by the way.
Yeah. Well, not to a lot of people, man. They loved that song.
Really?
It got millions and millions of streams.
Dude, you just have to say shit's from Drake. That doesn't have to be good.
It was like an outlier amongst like all the, you see it now, like a lot of AI covers
Yeah.
But it was a totally original song by this guy who used AI to create it. And remember last time we were talking about like what's going to happen copyright wise?
Sure. Yeah.
So this seems to be the first sort of, I guess, big
artist to do something about it, right?
Sort of do something about it, right? And it's his label more so. I think it's Universal or Warner Brothers. I think it's Warner Brothers Music. They did take down notices for the whole thing. Spotify, YouTube, everything. You couldn't find it now anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously you can on YouTube probably find it somewhere.
Sure.
But yeah, take down, and that's interesting, right? Because
how did they put it on Spotify? Usually,
you can put anything.
So
on Spotify.
anyone can. But how do they tag it as Drake official?
They don't. I don't know if they did that. That's the thing, right?
Yeah,
you
but
you can't tag it as Drake official because only Drake can
That's
upload
what
to
I was
that,
thinking. Yeah.
upload to his account.
Yep.
But it was still up there.
I heard it.
And yeah, it just they put down a copyright takedown notice. And now that's interesting, right? Because that implies that this is a song that was put up, obviously without the permission, but like that is going against some copyright law.
Yeah, of course.
There is none at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that is even legal. The thing is, like, this was just some Joe Blow that made it in, like, his mother's basement or some shit. Like, I don't know if he wouldn't have the opportunity to sue or anything, or even check up on like why was this taken down, right?
Of course.
I don't think he would want to pursue that, but it is interesting that they did a copyright takedown notice because that's not a song that was ever made by Drake but again,
his
likeness is being used, right?
Yeah.
But that's also transformative content. Like, that's weird. Transformative content.
Transformative content. Even like the version of transformative
like,
content.
What's the difference with that and a remix?
Yeah, but the remix still has to go through the approval from the initial artist.
Not really.
Why not?
There's a lot of remixes up there. You can like on YouTube and that. Like,
yeah, but they're not official, man. Like if it's
no,
official,
like, what's the problem with the the people can have remixes up and still have them up, right? On Spotify and YouTube. Drake will do nothing about it. But like as soon as an AI version like that, I don't see the difference between an AI version of a song and a remix of a song.
You know what? I think the lawyers or Universal had to set a precedent because they know that this shit's going to come. This is the precedent,
right? Basically.
And Drake is the biggest artist still on the planet, so I think they did well. But we're gonna see, man, like the lawyers are just gonna have a field day trying to figure this shit out because it's
because all it's gonna take. I mean, like a lot of people that made these AI songs and covers.
Yeah,
they're not the people that I would imagine would sort of challenge these decisions, but they're going to run into someone that will, right, at some point. That's just how United States of America is. Someone will be willing to sue, but when that case starts, that will be the precedent, I reckon.
Damn son.
And yeah, I mean, it's set a precedent in a way, but I don't know if that precedent's legal.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Speaking of legal music precedents, did you hear about the Ed Sheeran case? They've recently closed it off.
Yeah, so he's won that, right? He's won that.
So he's won that, but okay. So for those that didn't know, Ed Sheeran taken to court by the team that represents Marvin Gaye.
This lot.
These guys are
some
thirsty, man. Like
happy people. These guys.
They just want it anyway. So the song is "Let's Get It On."
Yeah.
And Thinking Out Loud.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Look. So there's a couple of things interestingly about like, okay, one is, did you hear though during the case? So he's won it now, as of now. This is the 6th of May. But during the time when the case was going on, Ed said that if he was found guilty, he would quit music. I'm done with this. Like, so I think that was really. I think it was a very strategic play by Ed, which I don't know how much of it influenced it. I don't think so.
You think
but like,
Sheeran fans in the jury, like,
I'm gonna get married soon. I need to use Think It Out.
I need him to keep creating songs.
Man, sorry, but Ed Sheeran's latest stuff. Anyway, you can say that for a lot of us. But anyway, whatever. So that was one element that I thought that was really interesting. Baller move, power move. I like it, Ed. I like it. The other one is during the process, he apparently played Thinking Out Loud on his guitar.
Oh, really?
And then he played Let's Get It On just to show. The thing is, in pop songs, when they there are 4 or 5 chords that rule all pop songs.
Yes, that's right.
So C, G, D, F, whatever.
Usually the same 4 or 5. Yeah.
So to say that, okay, when you like Let's Get It On, and Thinking Out Loud, does it, when you just think about it, like where, right? I have seen like videos show it, and if you catch it at a certain beat to transition in, you can see it. But like I said, this is, you know what this is to me? This is fucking Nickelback. All their songs sound the same. Right? They all sound the same. You know how an artist, they release a song, you're like, Yes, good, but it's even like all some of the Drake songs all the sound a little bit girls like it. I mean, I don't even know what 2 Chainz is saying. 2 Chainz all the time he's saying the same damn thing.
Are we reaching a point now? I mean, you said like the same 4 chords, so you've done a lot of songs. Are we reaching the point? I mean, see, obviously a lot of stuff is sounding the same.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, are we reaching a point where the creativity is now gone? We've reached like the maximum. It's a saturation point, right?
Creativity is in the eye of the beholder. I think.
But the saturation point, like you're making all these songs and like a lot of them.
Well, you tell me how much new music are you listening to? Because I'm not listening to a lot of quote and unquote new music. Well, I don't know. You know what it is. So I don't know about you, but like when we were younger, you gravitate towards a certain taste in music, right?
Yeah.
And you either do 2 things. One is you keep at it, which you do. If your first love is R&B or rock, you'll kind of stay there. But for me, as an example, you're right. They're all sounding the same to me. Yeah. So I'm going to different genres.
Yeah.
Like to satisfy that new craving.
Not just you, man. I'm seeing a lot of people this generation are doing that too. They're going backwards.
Yeah.
So they're going back to the old stuff right now.
Exactly. But that's what I mean. So I think like...
Because I used to think like, you know, a lot of people don't, like when they say they don't like the current music, it's because maybe they don't get it, right?
Yeah.
It's like that same effect of when we were listening to stuff in the late 90s and the people in the 70s who were like, oh, what is this new crap? I don't listen to it. Like that, they're probably thinking that in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, is it that? But then I talked to a lot of like the younger generation and they're like, nah, I like listening to Slipknot. I like listening to, you know, back in the day it was at 112. Like, I'm like, well, like, I always asked why. Like, it's like a lot of stuff sounds the same right now.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's the, I guess, the hard part now is how do you differentiate yourself from anything? Everything's been done. Everything in every genre has been done.
Well, yeah.
Right? Like you've got to, like even if you think you've made yourself an original song, it most likely sounds like something without even knowing it.
Yeah.
It's like an unconscious sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
You're creating a song and then you probably unconsciously, he must be a Marvin Gaye like fan, but then he unconsciously, Ed Sheeran must have.
Well, if
with the chords and all like.
Well,
if
you said if they're influenced by certain sounds, you're going to gravitate towards the same progressions.
Because like I guess what that case probably relied on was their intent from Ed Sheeran to copy that song.
Well, how do you judge intent? Like I can say like you know what I mean. Like intent's such a gray area.
That's probably what it came down
Such
to.
Such a blurred line. Speaking of
blurred lines,
mate, like these Marvin, I don't know who's representing them, but these guys are thirsty, man. They want that cash. Let's get it on. Like, get enough cash for you. I mean, like that's just one song. Yeah, and they went after like if it was a different team.
Do you think this is destroying Marvin Gaye's that he's got his estate with
I've never thought of it like that.
Bloodthirsty lawyers now sort of coming after everything.
I mean, what Ed said is that I'm glad about the result. Obviously, he won. But I'm really sad that people can make accusations like this and get away with having to take it to court and stuff like that.
Going to court's expensive. It's not like, you know.
Their upside is like if
And like
I think just artist wishes and stuff like that once they're gone from their estate is just an interesting thing because it can tarnish. I mean, we're talking about it now. Their team, quote unquote, has done 2 not hit pieces, but like they've taken 2 big songs there.
Major songs.
And again, like you said, I'm sure if Michael Jackson or someone looks at their catalogs and starts just trying to check it, and they'll probably have an AI program that could do that very soon and say you're within 10% of the same pitch or something like that. Yeah. Like where does it end? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I still think it's too saturated now. Everything is close to sound the same because like we've reached a point now where like it's hard to differentiate.
I think being an artist now is very hard.
It's very hard. It's much more. That's why in the 90s, like it was. I mean, they're incredible artists, but try doing that now.
Yeah,
try doing what they did then. Right now, it's gonna be very hard to do that because all that's been done now. Like that sound has been sort of even like we take the hip hop sound, right? Like we sort of super producers.
Yep.
During the late 90s and 2000s of Pharrell, Timbaland, P. Diddy, Dr. Dre.
But do those songs still scale now? Are they generally timeless songs to you?
They are timeless to me. Because like, I mean,
You just like Timberland
there might
'cause
be
he's swole.
there might be a bias because we grew up in that era,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I like to try to think a bit more objectively and say that
Yeah.
no, there was something special about those producers that produced that because
Mm.
during that time, if you remember, it is a little bit similar in the sense that during that time, gangster rap was the big thing with it,
Yeah, yeah.
and then NWA and all that sort of stuff, and
Yep.
that was the big thing that back then, like the gangster rap, and that reached a point of saturation where I guess the artists in that industry were sort of like, okay, I think like Dr. Dre's albums that weren't working
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
while after he left, the NWA, and like after that, there was the point where he had to like be forced to innovate, right?
Yeah.
Because that sound was dying out, right? It was been done to death, and all of a sudden, he's he's in an office with Eminem,
Yeah, yeah.
who was completely different to anything he's ever done,
Yeah.
and it forced the industry to innovate. Now, whether that's happening now, I'm not quite sure. I still see, I'm seeing little things here and there of the industry where different sounds are coming about, but it's the way.
Well,
The way that those four producers connected
Yeah.
with like the mass audience,
okay.
I don't think it will.
You know
ever
who
be
I
done
blame?
Who?
Kanye. Oh, it's always Kanye. Well, he was the major
very
innovator in
influential.
sampling.
again. No, he's very.
He was one of the major, at least in pop music. I mean, you can
So
call
people call 808s and Heartbreak a very influential album for this generation.
I love
right?
Data.
And I remember when
A lot
it
of
came
people
out.
hated it. A lot of people hated
remember
it.
when it came out, there was
Yeah.
such big contention about what the hell is this?
Yeah,
Like, what is this from Kanye? This doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
Two, this
Yeah.
is incredible.
yeah,
Like, this is something new. This is going to be and I believe you hear all these like younger rappers and stuff. A lot of it sounds like the
At that
808s and
time.
Heartbreak. It's a lot of the sound looks like it's taken from that or inspired by that, right?
I mean, I think because our background is firmly in hip hop, R&B, and all this sort of stuff. It's a very electronic sound now.
yeah.
So, like,
and that's from 808s, right?
Yeah,
808s and
yeah.
like it's
But I wonder if that's half the reason, because it's funny because like in the 90s it sounded very organic.
yes.
Even though it was electronic as well.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it was analog electronic,
Yes.
and you had the scratch.
Well,
and,
that's why I still think Pharrell, Timbaland, Diddy, Dre, those are they're super producers that produced a time in hip hop that was special,
yeah,
right? Like the way the sounds were different, completely different.
Yeah, yeah.
The artists sounded completely different. Like, they were on this wave. Like, that was so cool. Like, the swagger came from how different they were,
yeah.
and how unique they were. I mean, you take Busta Rhymes' "Light Your Ass on Fire" and you compare that with Slim Shady, like they're two different songs.
Yeah.
Complete, like they don't sound anything like each other,
Yeah.
and you're not seeing that now.
Yeah,
Everything sounds like like it's the cadence is the same, the flows are the same, the melodies are the same,
Yeah.
the beats are starting to sound the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beats by Jay.
It's gone to a point. Yeah, it's like it feels very stagnant. It feels very similar to what the saturation in gangster rap was at the time of the late 90s.
Gangster rap. You know what? We got to do a podcast about the best records. In the
Yeah,
90s.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah, but yeah, like we need that innovation that brought about those producers.
Yeah.
Because it's really needed in the music industry right now. Because like a lot of the young generation are going back to old stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not there.
Yep. I agree. You're a royalist, aren't you?
Oh, mate.
Your boy Charles is getting that crown. Some real life Game of Thrones shit.
Right, we're counting down. It's a couple of hours away now.
Aren't you gonna do like a watch party?
Yeah, I'm doing a watch party. I'm getting my sister-in-law, sounds British.
Okay. Do you have strong feelings about this Coronation? Because there's like mixed views on it, right?
I mean, a lot of people. Yeah, I've heard the mixed views. Like, oh, the monarchy. Why are they still relevant? And look, at the end of the day, this is a once in a lifetime event. Last time this happened was 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the monarchy, it's steeped in history. That's what I like
not
about
good.
it. A lot of it's not good, right? I mean, they invaded my country, man. I'm pissed about that shit, man.
It's a sore spot for a lot of
brown
people.
boys, man. We don't like that shit. But like,
So you tune in?
Man, let's you know. Have
What
my
you gonna do?
biscuits.
Get some popcorn, get some whiskey, just
Popcorn with get my biscuits and tea. We're sipping on that tea and eating our biscuits and wearing our suits and stuff.
yeah. I think. Yeah, but a lot of people hate Charles, man.
Well,
Charles is probably the most hated royal.
he is, but because of how he treated Diana, man.
Yeah,
Diana, that's the thing, right?
So why would you tune in history?
The thing is, that's like it's still got that. And this has happened really recently. That reality TV aspect. I mean, not recently. It's happened in the past 30 years of it, right? Like,
you ever watched a Royals event? Like, fuck.
Man, there's so much drama still around there, right? Like Meghan not attending.
That is not a real Royal event.
Harry's attending without her, but he's there sitting in the back
you know
row.
What they need to do? They need two versions of this. One is the highbrow normal version that you see. One is the BET reaction version. That's what we should do.
Well, like Meghan shows up and starts a fight with Kate. Won't stop. Won't stop. Man, we're gonna get cancelled.
World Star presents the Coronation. Look, man, wish the homeboy.
No, that's it. I mean, yeah, it's once in a lifetime. Man. Last time was 70 years that this happened, and good on him, Charles. Good old Charlie, and R.I.P. my girl Lizzie, watching from above.
Jeez.
Elizabeth.
She'd be turning. She'd be spewing.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, we talked about how unpopular Charles is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk also of like, should they have just skipped Charles and go to Will?
They can't do that.
No, there's precedents for that, actually, apparently.
Is there?
Yeah, there is precedents where, like, because Charles, like, come on, it's realistic. Charles not going to be there for long.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to be there for maybe a decade or two.
So they knew that was going to happen.
10 years. Like, he's going to have to give it to William anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So why not just skip it and just give William a longer reign?
You know what? Let's just turn the card wheel and go to Harry, mate. Give it to Hazard.
Hazard's busy with his wife, man. His wife doesn't like them. Give it
to Hazard, mate.
Hazard's doing books and shit, man. He's complaining about...
Hazard needs to divert...
Hazard's complaining about his privacy, mate, while being on TV. Like
Hazard needs to get into crypto. That's what he does. Harry Coin. Harry Coin.
Get it going, Hazard.
Oh, shit. All right. On to something a bit more serious. What's happening with this drone incident in the Kremlin? Like, what are you doing now, man?
Me? It wasn't me.
Can't we get some peace? Like, seriously.
It wasn't me. Yes,
all right, what's happened? Fill us in.
Okay, so what's happened is there was this drone attack. There was a drone attack, and apparently
from the US.
There was I'll explain. There was a drone attack, right, on the Kremlin where Putin is. And it didn't really look like a big one. It just looked like at the top of. It didn't break anything. It just felt like at the top of one of the towers. It felt like this little explosion that went off. What
was it, like a bomb supposed to be? Or it just ran into something?
I think a drone crashing.
Yeah, I saw the photo. It more looked like it crashed into something.
Yeah, it didn't look like it did anything to the building.
Yeah.
It was very tame. So Russia got very. Obviously, they would, right?
Of course.
They think they consider this an act of war.
Yep. From who though?
Well, first they were blaming Ukraine.
Yeah, okay.
Right? They're like, this is, it was from the Ukraine. And the Ukraine straight away, the officials were like, because they don't want another escalation to this.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it wasn't us.
Yeah.
100% wasn't us. And then Russia very boldly lately started blaming the US.
I mean, who else got drones is going to bring them there?
And the US straight away is like, man, Russia's lying. Like, this there's no way we'll do anything like this. This is provoking something we don't want.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, a lot of people are saying like, yeah, this looks very fake. I mean, it looks stupid, the video, in a way, right? Like, it's just, what's going on here?
It looked pretty amateurish to me. Yeah, it didn't look...
It did look like staged a bit, like the angle of the camera is very convenient.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's very convenient that you got it from that angle. But like, mate, like, is Russia trying to start something?
Well, it's good.
I mean,
they need any reason to start stuff, I
mean, they must have thought by now the US would be doing a lot. I mean, the US is doing a lot, right, for Ukraine.
Yeah.
I reckon they probably thought by now the US would have gotten involved a bit more.
What, to stop it altogether?
Or to more, like, on the front line, probably.
So then from their perspective, what does it benefit them, like, directly starting more shit? Like, I don't understand.
Look, at the end of the day, both countries have got big big like spending on
Yeah, of
military,
course.
right?
Yeah.
That they need to justify. I could definitely see this as on their end being something like, mate, we need to spend this money on buying more tanks, buying more weapons, buying everything. We need to justify it by going into war with the US, maybe.
Jeez, man.
Which
like,
is
this
scary.
has already gone on much longer than I don't know what to think, but
that sent shockwaves around the world because like everyone was like, "Holy shit, they're blaming the US." No, this is severe escalation. Like this is like,
of course,
they're thinking that as like literally like that's a war, like that's actions for war, that type of stuff, you know.
It just feels so I don't know, man. Like that whole space is very tense, especially with the US elections around the corner and all that sort of stuff.
What's going to happen if Trump comes back and this is still going on?
Oh yeah,
some dangerous
your boy,
because he talks very bravado like and goes, mate, they can't talk like that to me. They can't even say the nuclear word. That's not happening under my presidency.
He postures a lot.
He postures a lot. But he's crazy enough to go through with stuff. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, watch the space.
Yeah, but they're not gonna give him the keys, mate. They're not gonna give him the keys. They're not gonna give him the keys. They're not gonna give him the launchpad keys.
Man, he has that button. When you're president, you have that shit. You already have it.
I don't want to think about it. No,
if the world's ending in nuclear, we don't want to think about it right now. Let's a couple of podcast episodes to go.
We've got to make it out of 1,000 subs.
Yeah, come on, man.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so the NBA playoffs are on.
Okay.
At the moment, it's good. It's very competitive. I think this is the most competitive it's been in a while, right?
Well, I don't really get to watch the NBA that much, but I watched recently. I think it was Lakers versus
Warriors.
Yeah, that was the very close game.
All the games are close.
Yeah, it was such a good.
I mean, we could
game.
have like a final that no one could ever dream of, and that's how close it is, which is good. But the biggest upset so far, I think, is even if like an obtuse team wins it from now on, it's probably not going to be as big as the number 1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah,
lost against the number 7th or 8th seeded Miami Heat. So that's a big thing. So the Bucks have been one of the best teams, if not the best team.
Yeah.
All year, led by international Greek superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo. So what made media waves and was doing the social media rounds and actually shared in my LinkedIn is, so their superstar, what they do is that so it was a shock that they lost the series, right? Jimmy Butler absolutely went nuclear. So that's his own little story. But he got interviewed. They have exit interviews. They have interviews at at the end of every game. And basically, a reporter said, "Giannis, do you think that this season's a failure?" Right? And he lost it. Well, he didn't lose it, but like you could see, it's like, oh my god. He's like, Eric, you asked me this. I'm gonna be honest, right? He's like, Eric, you asked me this last season. If you don't get promoted every year, is it a failure? So he went there, but basically he did it very well.
On the reporter.
So he basically did an analogy that it's not a failure because every day is growth, and they won it a couple of years ago, right? Yeah. So to amount losing this series, even though there was a failure, is not. He basically said Michael Jordan was in. So he said it very articulately. You can watch the full video, and it's doing the social media rounds. A lot of people are praising him. Yeah. He basically said Michael Jordan was in the league for 15 years. So 9 of those years he didn't win.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's a failure? So I like that. Everyone liked it, but a lot of people were saying, but a lot of past players, like Shaquille O'Neal and like other people were saying, look, that's all well and good, and we get what you're saying. What you're saying is you can't distill that, but with the same thing in sports, you're the winner, you lose, right?
Yeah.
And if you're the number 1 seed, technically it is a failure, right? Technically, right? Like
it's a disappointment.
It is a major disappointment. So, yeah, look, it was doing the social media rounds, and what do you think? Like, I think it was eloquently said, and people love Giannis, which is why he was able to get away with it. But in that construct, if you're the number 1 seed and you have a collapse, because they collapsed 2 games. They actually collapsed. Yeah. They were winning by like 16 points each or something, and they got beaten twice. So they really did collapse. So the coach
then that question is justified, I believe.
Yeah.
Then that question is like, well, that's two in a row. Like that's been done like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely got to ask that question. What's wrong with asking that question?
Yeah.
But,
I think nothing's wrong with asking that question. It's just that, do we accept that failure and success is linear, black or white? Because we understand what he's saying, right? And because
Yeah.
he's a past champion, it can't be a complete sort of failure. But what's that? What's that fine line of accountability?
Well, I've seen a lot of elite sportsmen do this, right? Where they go, like, yeah, there are good days, there are bad days. Obviously, you know, it happens, right?
Yep.
But I mean, when you lose, it's not good. It doesn't look good. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for the players. It's not good for the coach. Not good for the management.
Yep.
There are consequences to it.
Especially if you lose, if you're the number one seed, right?
Right. Like if you're the number one seed, there are going to be you're going to get asked questions like that. Like you have to expect that, right?
Yeah.
But like maybe sometimes I feel like some elite sportsmen, because of the volume of games that there are, because of the fact that you can go on about like what happened before.
Yeah.
They're not in the moment as much.
Yeah.
And then they sort of think, well, no, I've done this before. Like, why can't I just like I lost this, but I can win tomorrow? Like that.
Yeah.
What's happening now is what's happening. That's what you should be.
Yeah. I think I think I liked I think where a lot of people are just they love the eloquence of the response, because you're not going to have it's got millions of views, like it's everywhere. People are sharing it in business and that, and it's great because if you think about it, I mean, one is they get paid millions of dollars, so no one gives a crap really. But the other is if you were interviewed for your job, and you didn't get a pitch, and it was one pitch, but it was a big one, but you've got pitches in the past, and someone says, is that a failure? You can understand why. You know what I mean?
It's a failure.
The nature of that would like affect you. So I can definitely appreciate it. It was doing the rounds. It's worth a chat. And not ironically, like their coach got fired.
Oh, what?
And this coach has a 70. Yeah, well, someone has to.
2 in a row.
Someone has to.
2 in a row, you're leading by 16.
You know what made this one tough for me? His dad died. One of his brothers or something died on the thing, so it just feels so.
Yeah.
But there's accountability, and like it sucks, but that's life.
It is.
It's pretty aggressive. So Guardians of the Galaxy 3 couldn't have been good, surely.
Man. Oh man, it was actually incredible.
Hold on. You can't say incredible because the stuff that they released in like, what is it? Netflix was so. Did you watch the Christmas one?
No, I didn't watch the Christmas one.
It was good. You didn't miss anything. It was horrendous. Seriously, just off the back of that, I watched halfway into it and it was so bad that I didn't watch. That's the reason I didn't watch it.
No, this is a cut above everything going on now.
Really?
Yeah, cut above.
It's
on another level in terms of quality, in terms of writing, mate. This is
it was better than Ant-Man 3.
Yes. Oh man,
I don't believe you.
Oh man, this is James Gunn at his best.
Really? All right, go on.
Creating characters that we care about.
Yeah.
A fitting end to the Guardians. This version of the Guardians.
Yeah.
And it's very emotional. It's got a lot.
Are you gonna have spoilers on this? Because you might as well say spoiler.
No, spoilers.
Spoilers.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But
yeah.
it's very emotional, and it's got scenes like and this is the problem I have had with like when I was watching this is that like if you have pets or if you're an animal lover or anything like that, get ready because you're gonna feel it.
Are you
like,
serious?
Yeah. There's some scenes. It's actually, I'm not sure if this is something to take your kids to.
Really?
Yeah, it's to that point because man, like a lot of people were crying in that cinema. They were adults.
Yeah.
But I can imagine a kid coming to watch this after the first two Guardians, very bright, colorful. Kind of there's a lot of scenes in this which is
it's dark, right?
It's dark and but it's like justified in its darkness, right? Like it's meant to be like that.
Yep.
But it's very sad. There's some scenes in there where it hits you.
Yeah.
And I have a pet. His name is Joey. His pet dog. He looks exactly like Rocket. He looks Rocket, and I've been saying for ages with my brother. I've been joking. Oh, look, it's this Joey. Like he's on the screen.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Because like during watching this, I had a hard time watching this. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
There's some scenes that just feel like it leaps out and it grabs your heart.
Yeah.
And it's just really emotional, and it will hit you. It'll definitely hit you, especially if you love these characters from the start, right?
Yeah.
from the first Guardians. It's written so well. It literally is. It is not a spoiler. It's a character piece on Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah,
and that story.
I mean that's what the trailer kind of revealed, right?
It's a character piece on him, and it's shown so beautifully, but yet so tragically.
Yeah,
There's a very his story is very tragic.
yeah.
And it's just done so well. And I just can't believe this is an MCU movie.
Well, that's what we're saying. Well, you need to get back to proper storylines because
right,
it's the pain and the hurt or the elation and joy. With the bang bangs, you still get the bang bangs, but like it can't be the bit that's leading it because that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about like actual like emotion and
that had been lacking from nearly all the MCU projects, I guess, since Endgame.
Yeah,
I mean, No Way Home was very good, but not that much else. And this definitely is a cut above anything that's going on. Is this maybe like a shift in where, because like we've talked about all the problems that Marvel Studios has been going through and how the power structure there has sort of gone back to what it used to be under Bob Iger and all that. They've gotten the other CEO out who just wanted lots of content, didn't care about the quality. Now Kevin Feige's getting some more power back. Maybe this is the shift that started now. That happened like last year, so maybe now the movies are reflecting that. We've seen Kevin Feige sort of scale back on his plans with Disney Plus. Like, he's not releasing as much as he was in the last couple of years. So it's maybe heading in the right direction for the MCU. So that's hopefully a good thing.
Okay. You know what? Speaking of Disney, we can do this. So Mandalorian season's over. You watched all of it?
Yes.
How did you rate it? It ended well. You can't tell me it didn't. I really enjoyed the last episode.
So
I thought it had like big movie production.
I mean, the production's always going to be there, right? Like, I mean, and like, look, I've heard some inside sources from behind the scenes what's going on. On terms of Mandalorian. I don't know what's 100% true, but I heard that Kathleen Kennedy, who was the head of Lucasfilm, was more involved in this season, and that's why we saw some pretty
Wait, do you rate this season as a disappointment? Because there's a lot of like that sort of set. I didn't rate that. I thought it started off with a bang, had like a slower middle because they're clearly.
I thought there was a lot of filler episodes this season compared to before. Like the story wasn't being moved along at like the pace that it should, and then when it did move, it moved too quickly at the end. I believe, right?
Too quickly.
Like, it just felt like, that whole revelation and that spoilers.
I mean, people who watch it probably watched it now.
The whole revelation that Moff Gideon wanted Grogu to, have like his own sort of clone army of Moff Gideons. That revelation came so quickly, and like then it's just like he's fighting him. Like, it's just
I know what you mean about the filler episodes because it did.
Like, did we need Jack Black and Lizzo? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
They could have gone into an episode. It looked like they were at the start of the season going more about the cloning stuff, and I mean, they spent 45 minutes on an episode on cloning. And then they just dropped that.
And then they dropped it.
And then quickly brought it back. Like, it's just, they could have like built the story a bit better. And I mean, the ending is good in that, like, they've reclaimed Mandalore, and that's good and all. But where it goes from here is interesting because there is now a Mandalorian movie being made, which is supposed to be the end of all these shows, like the culmination of. So there's Ahsoka coming in June.
Ahsoka soon.
And then after that, I'm not 100% sure, but it's all meant to sort of climax at the Mandalorian movie, which is a couple of years away, I think. I mean, but they've got a couple more seasons of Mandalorian, right? Yes, I believe they have a couple more. Might be one or two more. And then the movie.
And then the movie closes it off.
The movie closes it off. But like, I mean, we've also heard that recently with Star Wars announcements that Rey is getting her own movie. So
really?
This is set after the sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
right?
It would be,
this is Rey trying to build the Jedi Order again. And I mean, a lot of people online saying, no brainer, mate, you got to put Grogu in there. Right?
Is it the same timeline? I'm really getting mixed with these.
So Grogu is someone that can live for 800,000 years old, right?
Okay.
So in the Mandalorian timeline, which is before the sequel trilogy, he's a baby. He's like 50 years old.
Yeah.
So then, like, by then, he would be someone who's talking and
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
and like, he would be like a fully functioning Jedi, mate.
Functioning old man.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like they're saying like, yeah, he definitely has to be part of that
Yeah.
because, mate, talk what you want about Mando, man, but mate, that Grogu character, that merchandise seller.
Of course.
It's made them so much money.
Of course.
To the point where they can't ignore it now. Like
Yeah,
he has to be Star Wars' future. If he isn't, then there's an agenda being pushed by certain people within Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
They're not sort of playing into the business side of things, because if you look at the business side of things strictly, he is the future.
Yeah, look, of all the Star Wars spin-offs, the Mandalorian is the most polished one.
Yeah. And that's because you had Jon Favreau involved, Dave Filoni involved. And like, look, I've heard rumors, this season Kathleen Kennedy was more involved in trying to get her stuff pushed through.
Yeah.
Which is why you saw the Mandalorian show, and they've done this in the press where they're saying the Mandalorian is not just about Din Djarin anymore. It's about Bo-Katan Kryze.
Yes.
And I'm just like, well, are they
they've transitioned that character progression there, but yes, I mean, you never see the guy's face.
But like I'm saying, are they trying to go towards Bo-Katan being the main character, the female led? Like, it's just like
possibly.
I'm just a bit like, well, do they need to do that? Like, it was going like first 2 seasons perfect. Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I thought the ending of season 2 was one of the best pieces of Star Wars content you'll ever see, where Luke
came in, right?
That was insane. Like the reaction to that
from
the Star Wars fan base was universally one of the greatest reactions.
Yeah.
United, by the way.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of people that hated that.
Yeah.
It was just, and that's what was unique about the Mandalorian, in that it felt like it was uniting the fan base after so many years of the sequel trilogy dividing it.
Yep.
Right? There was a lot of divisions within after The Last Jedi and all that. Like, it was just, the fan base was divided. I mean, Mandalorian definitely united it, but I mean, the season I still said it was good, but
I think it was a good season.
It was not the same, it's not at the high of last seasons.
Yeah,
finale,
I don't know. I thought that the last couple of episodes were as good as it got, like as individual episodes. But that is what it is, and we've come to the end of the episode. So guys, like, subscribe, leave us some comments. What are some topics? Do you want us to stop talking about AI? Because that ain't gonna happen.
We've been talking about AI for this whole year, man, and beyond.
Hope to see you soon.
See ya.
Yep.